And we are live. I am in Orange, California, and Satu is back in Washington with the Survivor Washington out of Orting episode 11, right? God, we've had so many of these. I am your host, Hunter Snyder, executive producer of Survivor Washington, and with me, freshly woken up from a nap, is the man himself. Unfortunately, voted himself out of the game. Setu, how are you tonight, Setu?
Doing fine, man. Happy to be here.
Good. I'm glad to hear. I will say, hold on 1 second. I have to pull up. I'm going to pop up the chat. Make sure if you are in this, or if you're watching with us right now, to check out our live chat and ask questions for Setu there. Okay, so Setu, it has been almost an entire week since the boot episode. How are you feeling afterwards? After you've had a week to process, things have slowed down.
I feel like I did get a fair edit, so I had no idea what was going on. So that's what ultimately led to my downfall of why that happened. So, I mean, we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that for sure. So, Setu, so both you and Emma, both back to back, very interesting to kind of get a good basis as to your involvement with Survivor Washington. We go back to around the era of, I think it was after episode 2 of Survivor Washington Sumner. I got a message from you asking if you could participate.
Right.
Had you, at this point, were you into Survivor at all? Had you experienced anything Survivor related, or was Survivor Washington your first experience of Survivor all the way back when Survivor Washington Sumner first aired?
Yeah, I have never seen a full season of Survivor prior to this season. I've only watched like a handful of compilations and funny moments here and there from Cagayan and I saw little bits of Cambodia, and I didn't see the full thing, but I saw like little parts of it.
And of course, you had mastered Rob Cesternino. I mean, okay, to be fair, because like your understanding of the areas that you watched, I wasn't. I had thought you had watched Amazon at least and seasons like that. So like you had done a good amount of studying in certain characters and departments like that. But when Survivor Washington Sumner first came out and the application process came out for that, what were your expectations like for coming into the game of Survivor?
I guess you could say I was going to take the Joe Anglim approach and rely on challenges, being the challenge beast, to get myself through the game. But what I didn't understand was there was more to it than that. Like, there's the social game, there's strategizing, and I happened to deploy that into this season by, I guess, straggling along and being pulled along as the goat.
So stepping back, so let's discuss before your application into the new season of Orting, because originally you were cast for the original Survivor Washington Orting, which would have been all high school students. And I asked Emma this before: do you think that the game would have gone different for you playing with high school students than it did, or how? Of course, it would have gone differently, but what differences do you think it would have made to have if the original second season would have worked out and you would have been I believe the oldest person on the cast versus one of the youngest?
I think they would perceive me as kind of a threat because since I'm older, they think I'm more wise and more smarter than most of the high schoolers. I mean, I know some high schoolers who are a lot smarter than I am, but I think that would definitely play a big role into where, like, my position in that season.
And regardless, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Regardless, either way, because I remember one thing from you is that both times, both before the first Orting and before the first Orting, you had a different sense of excitement from anybody else. Like I got a truly there's excitement in the sense that people are like, I get to play Survivor and I'm excited to go out there and play Survivor. And then, but you had an excitement that was just like, I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to be out here. I'm excited to be involved with this project. I'm excited. You had kind of a vibe that I like. I got energy off of your both times having done your interview twice. Now, both times getting off the interview, you had like a shock of excitement that just like translated to me. And I'm like, wow, I'm actually really excited to have this guy on the show. Can you talk a bit on that?
So although I wasn't a super fan of Survivor, just the whole aspect of just being in the outdoors and playing a strategic game was like ultimately pulled me in to being a part of this project. And I think that plus playing with strangers, I think for the second season was a lot more, it sounded a lot more exciting than playing with high schoolers. Because with the second season that was supposed to happen, I had a bit of this chip on my shoulder where I thought I was going to win the whole thing because I was going to outsmart all the high schoolers. So,
which, considering the cast the first season, that would have been pretty easy to do.
Yeah, but like stealing baby.
Exactly. And then even with minimal Survivor knowledge, because I remember the thing, both you and Emma, when you did your interviews, as well as the other two that I actually had gotten the interviews done with that didn't appear on this season, you all had the basic idea that was like, these guys, again, referring to Sumner, which was airing at the time, these guys don't know what they're doing. Joe doesn't know what he's doing by showing the idol to everybody else. People should strategize more. And so even though you weren't a fan of Survivor, can you talk a bit on having that competitive nature and saying that, like, no matter what, you want to win?
Yeah. Well, I saw the challenges in the first season, and I thought that, wow, these look pretty easy, so I feel like I can knock all of them out. I had the same mindset Emma did during this season, like, oh, I'm going to win all the individual immunity challenges, and I'm going to be a huge help. I'm going to be like, who's a challenge beast who helped their own tribe out? Like maybe Brad Culpepper. I think that's who I said I was going to be like in my first interview. It's either like Brad Culpepper or
you wanted to help you wanted to be an asset to your tribe physically.
Yeah, like physically.
And
like
hey, that ended up working out, Wilkeson. You were praised for your physical attributes and contribution to the tribe that unfortunately probably could have used a little bit more of that.
A little short.
Just a little bit. You guys were close. It was close matchups every time. So you get the email for acceptance into Survivor Washington Orting the second season, but this time it's a little bit different. In that it's going to be all adults. Is your idea or perception of this new season any different than what you were thinking going into the original one?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. It was like the stakes have been raised. The expectations were a little higher, and I also expected it to be mostly strangers out there, like people I have never seen before. So I was excited to be playing in a pool of people, expect the unexpected, to say.
Right, and which ended up to, was it a surprise to you to see somebody that you did recognize out there?
Yeah. So I pulled into the parking lot and I see all these people. I'm like, this is such a beautiful cast. And I see Nico with his hands in his pocket, like off top, but that's for a different discussion. I pull in, like, get out of my truck, and we're all waiting in a circle. And I guess I didn't get the memo that we're not supposed to talk to each other. So I was like, hey, everybody, like, how's everything going? Like, you guys ready to play Survivor? And then nobody would talk to me. And then I see another car coming. I'm like, oh, that, she looks familiar. And then out pops Emma. And I'm like, oh, God. Like, I wasn't sure whether to be excited or a little intimidated because we knew of each other, but we didn't actually know each other.
Right.
I had to. It remained a mystery, like what she was going to do in the game.
And so everybody commentates. Everybody knows that if they had one first impression on anybody, everybody had a first impression on you to begin with. As they referred to with the Nettles.
I was bored.
So can you give your? I want to hear your perspective. I just want to hear your perspective on everything that from getting out there to me getting down there in this beach and getting the game started.
So I pull into the parking lot, like skip ahead, park the truck, get out, and I was basically like sizing everybody up. And then I see Corey. He actually approaches me and compliments my CM Punk t-shirt. Like, hey, that's a nice CM Punk t-shirt. I'm like,
oh. Okay, wait, hold on. Can I just pause you really quick? And I was gonna tell you this, I completely forgot. Sorry. Lindsay yesterday sent me a screenshot. It's something completely related, but in the screenshot popped a message of you describing Corey as a Mike Judge character.
Yeah, that was my first impression of him. Was that just the way he carried himself, like was like a Beavis and Butthead / King of the Hill type character.
I thought that was excellent. That was such a good comparison.
Yeah, like just the way he describes things, the way he carries himself. I love Corey so much. So he comes up to me. He's like, dude, I love your CM Punk t-shirt. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is a guy I want to work with, another professional wrestling fan. So maybe we can join forces and become, physical assets to our tribe. I hope he's on my tribe because he's scary. He's sort of like a caveman. And I don't know, like it was just so awesome to have him on my tribe.
Sorry, keep going.
And then I see Nico. Okay, I have my memory of the game is a bit vague, but all I remember is Nico. He had like a Jurassic Park hoodie, and he was just like staring into space. I don't know what he was doing, but he kind of reminded, like he didn't have to speak, but I just know that he gave off Eric Rickenbach, whatever his name is, vibes. And like Harold from Total Drama Island. Yes, I do watch Total Drama sometimes. So.
I remember you sent me the you did a cast comparison.
Yeah, I did a Total Drama cast comparison to everybody on the Survivor Washington Orting cast, and I drew a conclusion that Nico is Harold.
That's a good comparison. That's on par with the Corey and Mike Judge. Comparison.
And then I see Kitty, and automatically, like, my first impression of her is that, like, she's probably a granola girl. She probably hikes a lot. Like, she looks like a hiker. Her favorite band might be Mumford and Sons and Alabama Shakes. So.
Oh, but I looking back on this, I feel I have so many missed opportunities of asking you to compare these people to or give your take on these individuals. I feel like this would have made some good confessionals.
Yeah, she I don't know. She just like she probably had like I think it was an REI backpack with her. I'm like, yeah, she also probably lives in her car or out in the woods somewhere.
But I mean, I can't even make a sarcastic comment. No, I can't even make a sarcastic comment or like a joking comment because like it's all pretty much true.
I was so like I wanted her to be on my team too because maybe she could help us build the shelter and
bring a boatload of craft beer.
Yeah, craft beer and maybe do some kumbaya sessions. I mean, we did doing that before the challenge. But.
So was there anybody on the other tribe? So you were assessing people on your own tribe before you were put into the tribes. Was anybody in Carbonado that stood out to you?
Connor. I heard him talk in the circle with, I think it was with Sean, and he kind of reminded me of a human computer. Like
the Jeopardy.
Yeah, like he's like a human. Like if you were to tell him like, hey, instead of hey Siri, like where is the nearest restaurant? It'd be like, hey Connor, where is the nearest laboratory for rat testing? He's like, 151st Street.
You have the voice down. It's the deep.
But yeah, this is how we.
The trademark is Siri has that high.
Yeah.
The blissful voice. Connor's just deep monotone, kind of fast, kind of stuttering a little bit.
I'm assessing the area.
I'll bet. I'll put money on that. Let's do it. Let's start a Kickstarter and get that going.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get in your tribes. Was there anything like up until the moment of getting to camp and those first few moments? I know that you and Emma had a little session going in our opening words to each other, in which Emma's and you are talking about being physical threats. Did that at all define the game for you? Because I know you talked about wanting to be an asset physically to your tribe. But can you just walk me through like what you were thinking, what was going through your mind those opening moments?
Like comparing my game to Emma's?
Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. So I asked who thought they'd be the smartest, who thought they'd be the best social, who think they'd be the best strategic player, and then nobody raised their hands except for when I asked who thinks they will be the best physical player. Both you and Emma raised your hands.
Oh well, shoot. I mean, so. Yeah, me and Emma used to, back in high school, we did track and field. So she ran and I threw, which ended up coming full circle because we ended up both running and throwing the challenge before the merge. So yeah, it definitely played a huge role in how that ended up being.
So and I know your tribe, obviously, you compare Nico to Harold, let's say, or like you said you compared Nico to Harold. In terms of being a physical asset, did you look at your tribe at all and think, hey, I'm good. I'm good for at least the first day, up until swap or up until the merge. I've got this because I'm going to be one of the most physical players here.
I mean, I had no Survivor knowledge. I knew that there were, so knowing that there were a handful of super fans playing, probably mostly most of my tribe made up of strategic people. So they would need that extra helping hand in the challenges, in terms of physicality. So I just went along with it. They ended up using me as an extra vote. I mean, more so Lindsay and Kaya. They wanted to use me as the extra vote coming into the merge. And to credit whether you got, I personally credit either way. I mean, regardless, because here's the thing is that I personally think that strategy is subconscious most of the time. I don't think that you have to say, oh, I'm doing this intentionally, I'm doing this. As long as you're doing it right, which I personally think we have a lot to cover on the first day, but in terms of a first day strategy for you, that was probably, I was thinking at the end of day one, set 2 is one of the best games out here because nobody, up until the Corey vote, nobody had said your name, but at that point you had integrated yourself to the point where you're already in, so it wouldn't have mattered even if Corey's throwing your name around, Kitty's throwing your name around. But that whole first day, was it just kind of what was your mindset in terms of surviving vote to vote when you started getting into things? I just played it simple. Lay low as possible. Like I said, play under the radar and not make myself to be as big of a target, as I don't rub. I play by common sense, by not rubbing people the wrong way and just not doing things to it's generally not doing things to piss people off. I hung out at camp most of the time. I was a bit afraid to go to the water well by myself or go with another group of people because it would be like, because I was afraid that my name would come up if that were to happen. So, because that would give them time to, think about it and be like, yeah, set two would make more sense.
So you're just always with people.
Yeah.
But in the not Nico sense where you're with somebody literally the entire overtly just with people.
Yeah.
Early on your first, because I know that you and Sheree connected as well out there.
Oh yeah, sure. Sheree. Yeah, we talked about UFC and the YMCA and cooking, like all that other good stuff. I think Sheree is one of the most underrated contestants this season.
I remember you, Corey, and Sheree had something going just for a little bit. It wasn't super long. Where did that? What happened with that? Just in general, that whole that potential threesome that started. It didn't.
Well, really... it eventually it dissolved into an afterthought because Sheree didn't know anything about Survivor, but neither did I. So Sheree,
and you guys, unfortunately, you are paired with the man that's played 172 of these games.
Yeah, and then Corey, so I didn't really trust Corey that much because it felt like a bit of a forced alliance because Lindsay, Kitty, and I think Stefan went to peer off by the water well. And then Corey just came up to me. He's like, "You and you, like, do you guys want to make he's like, do you guys want to make an alliance?" And then we're like, "Sure, why not? We need numbers." And we're kind of like, coming into the merge. It'd definitely be helpful to have a bit of an intense player like Corey and a social player like Sheree. That was time because I didn't know anything about Survivor. So
solid reasoning.
Yeah. Reasoning. Right.
And then go on.
And then he tried to pull Lindsay in, and I wasn't sure if she was I wasn't sure if she was gonna agree with aligning with me, Sheree, and Corey. But she's just like nodding, like, okay, yeah, like like that'd be sound like a good idea, and like, oh, yeah, okay, like just passively agreeing with it.
So, and that's an interesting thought because that's one of the biggest subjects in the LRG community in relation to Survivor Washington is that you take somebody like Corey who knows these games in and out and knows that, hey, you got to get out there and you got to make alliances fast, compared to somebody who doesn't know a lot about Survivor. That's where I really think that our game was special and different in the sense that since not everybody was like Corey playing is not incredible gameplay. And so what was it about then the people that you did end up aligning with that was different than that forced relationship that you had with Corey? And how did they get you into that relationship? And how did you get in that alliance?
Well, I mean, me, Stefan, Lindsay, and I, we bonded. Okay, so me and Corey, we kind of bonded over like professional wrestling. It was a bit superficial, but something with me, Stefan, Lindsay, and I about like mental health and how we deal with like the daily stress in our life. This is all off camera, by the way, and I feel like I connected more with that than just like, oh, numbers. So my reasoning to align with Lindsay was more emotional than.
So even in a 3-day game of Survivor where you have to make alliances fast, their social part is a huge factor. Clearly,
I definitely agree.
Yeah. So that goes out to the game bots watching this that apply and they say, I'm going to backstab everybody and make alliances quick because it does not work.
Until it happens to you, then you become Lex Vandenberg, whatever his name is.
Yes, exactly. Do not overplay in Survivor Washington. You gotta consider.
Don't be a Lex.
Yeah, there's many layers. So that first day, I mean, that again, like there, of course, there's you annihilating Connor in the second challenge.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was all those challenges. I vaguely remember participating in them because, you know, when you're so like amped up on adrenaline that you don't even remember the moment, like what happened during that moment. That's what happened with me versus Connor, because I didn't, when they put him against me, like I didn't know what to expect. Like, is this kid really the strongest on their team? So
he's like he pulls out like super strength. He pulls out like some sort of like,
he's like reverse Colby Donaldson, where he's actually Superman. He's actually Superman inside of a Connor suit.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But it turns out that unfortunately he was not, and he ate dirt twice in a row.
That was
which you sent a wonderful GIF of today or yesterday. One of these days. The days all blend to me at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So first day, other than any of the stuff we've covered, was there anything in particular that you wanted to cover from that? Because I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You're playing a straightforward game, at least on paper or on presentation. But was there anything behind the scenes, anything that happened that first day that you want to cover, you want to get out and talk about?
One of my favorite off-camera moments was when Corey. Okay, so Kitty was talking to, I think it was Kaya, about attending Virginia Tech for her master's, I think. And then Corey chimes into the conversation, is like, "Oh, hey, hey, I've been to Virginia once." And then Kitty, and then we're all like, "Oh." It's like, I was like, "I've been to Virginia once," and then we're all like, "Oh, cool. What for?" And then, sorry, Corey was like, "Oh, I got arrested for public intoxication and nudity. I got caught peeing on a tree in a park at 2:00 in the morning."
In Virginia, just happened to be in Virginia.
It's like out of nowhere. Like, what does that have to do with Virginia Tech? I know it's in Virginia, but like, that was just so out of the ordinary.
And the vagueness of like explaining that that's why he was in Virginia, but not elaborating on it.
How he got there. Like, I'm just wondering, like, what came first, the intoxication or the nudity part, or did that just come?
I think for Corey, it's just kind of just a blend of just off and on with all of that.
I'm also curious to know, like, I wonder if the cops down in Virginia, if their first instincts were to go to the local museum and see if any of the wax caveman figures came to life, and then just trotted all the way down to the bar and got a few drinks. And I don't know.
I feel like I feel like all the police are aware that Corey's out and about on the East Coast, and they're just kind of like, "Oh, this guy again. We'll take him home. It's all good."
Yeah, he's banned from Virginia.
It's like he's cross border again. We'll take him back. So day 2, you guys get waken up. You're swapped. Were you expecting this at all?
Yeah, because there were talks of it at our camp. Like, we're like, "Oh, what if there's a swap?" But what we didn't expect was that it happened in the middle of the night, and we were more so expecting it to come the first thing in the morning. So I understand why you would do it in the middle of the night, because the game was moving so fast and we had such little time to pack everything in, and like condense it. So I didn't expect it. I did not expect it to be that late. I did expect a merge, but swap, but I didn't expect it to be that late.
Was there anybody in particular you didn't want on your tribe, or you didn't want leaving your tribe? Was there any dynamic in terms of tribe structure after that you didn't want?
I didn't want to leave Lindsay. I also didn't want to leave Stefan, because he was kind of like my moral support for the game. I didn't want Wes on my team. I don't know why, but I can't play. Like I heard stories about him playing. Like I heard stories about him playing on such an intense level, and I don't know if I could match up with. I don't know. I didn't know if I could work with that.
And so you get this new tribe. Emma's on your tribe, and then does that have any weight on your physical game or the current game you're playing? Do you have any anything stand out from experiencing or having Emma on your tribe versus playing the day before? So how much does your game change now with Emma on your tribe?
Or
because Emma's on your tribe, if at all?
Well, now that she was on my tribe, like it was so. How do I put this? When we're on separate tribes, I wanted to have that like friendly competition, like just to like go back and forth. But now that she's on my tribe, like if you can't beat him, didn't join him. So I planned on joining forces with Emma, if that answers your question. So I actually wanted to work with her now that she's on my tribe.
How early did that start? Because I know, unfortunately, which I hate, you both talked to me about talking to each other, and never it was never on camera. We never got anything from you.
Yeah, I guess she jumped ship and went her own way after Stefan's boot. So I didn't know that was going on behind the scenes.
Well, I'm saying in general. I'm saying because I know that you guys talked. Because Emma told me that you guys talked, you told me that you guys talked. I just never was able to see it, and I was never able to find it. I always found that duo interesting to me. I always thought and I like that dynamic that went on. And I was just wondering, so the pre-merge then, because you have Brett, who's clearly a scapegoat, but would you value then Emma above Kitty or Lindsay at all? Of course, you have Sarah as well. But just in general, would you have weighed Emma above Kitty and Lindsay at this point?
Well, at the time, I kind of did. I jumped ship from Lindsay's alliance to work with Emma, Erica, and I think Sarah. But I don't know what happened to Sarah. I just wanted to work with Emma because I knew her from outside of the game, and I didn't know, because actually what happened was after I won individual immunity, we'll get to that point. Okay. Yeah, because let's cover more before the swap, and then we'll get to the merge. We can talk about that because I want to talk about the Brett situation, which is the beginning of the set 2 curve. Oh, I take that back. I would say that dated back to Corey's.
That did. Technically, it did. But this was the first vote that somebody was like, we'll tell Brett set 2 for this sole purpose of blindsiding Brett, rather than in the event that Corey was like, let's get rid of set 2 because of this. This was more of the first time that your name was used as
just a vote.
Yeah, as a vote to trick somebody else to blindside them. Were you told about this? Were you aware that they would be used that way?
I was not aware that my name would even be brought up in the first place. Like that's why I was so surprised when my name kept popping up in before the merge, like with Corey and then with Brett.
And so going into the merge, unless do you have anything else from the swap you want to talk about? Throwing the challenge. I know that you had a good challenge throw in which you were in the woods for a really long time, then came back with the wrong set of bag bag of those pieces.
I was expecting you to use some of the footage back there because
that was the only footage that was lost.
Because I was running around, I was like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, this is like the scene from Hot Rod when he gets off the bike in the middle of the forest and starts dancing. Like, this is exactly like Hot Rod, and I started dancing around. I'm like, oh, I should probably get to getting the bags. And then I saw the Wilkinson and the Carbonado bag, and purposely I got the Carbonado bag. I'm like, tell Hunter this was on accident, and then I ran off.
Oh, you said all this on camera?
Yeah.
And wait, do you remember what camera was being used back there? Was it one of the regular camp cameras?
I think it was Scout who was using the iPad, and then Ore had a Nikon of some sort, like one of the main cameras. He was filming back there.
Ore was back there?
From what I remember, yeah. Huh. And then I think it was I don't know, never mind.
I remember like I'd like to get this as bonus because I never found this. This was never the woods back there, the footage was never found, which was disappointing because I would have loved to have all that. But well, maybe one day we'll see in the secret scene. All of that happened. The magnificent challenge throw. Brett goes home, and then it's time to face the music.
Yeah.
Merge. What are you thinking about going to the merge?
Well, I was solid with working with. I was gonna stay with Lindsay and Kaya, and maybe pull Emma in. Going into. So the idea was to bring Emma and Lindsay to the top three, like have the top three as me, Emma, and Lindsay. But after I won my first individual immunity challenge, Emma actually, I can't believe you didn't get this on camera, or we didn't turn the iPad on. I went back to the water well, up to me and says, Satu, like, Lindsay and Kaya are using, like, they think they have you around your, their fingertips. I'm like, really? Like, so they have me at their disposal. Like, they're going to get rid of me at any moment then. And that's how I perceived what she told me. I thought she was like, well, if they're going to use you as an extra vote and get rid of you, like,
yeah. And she quotes that. She quotes that in confessional in the episode. So that's accurate. That's what she said. But continue.
And then she's like, okay, well, like, she made it seem like she wanted to work with me, and she was like, if my name ever comes up, like, if your name ever comes up, then I'll come right to you. And if my name comes up, you come right to me. Okay. I'm like, okay. And then I go back to Emma. I'm like, hey, Emma, I hate to break this to you, but the vote is you tonight.
And you offered her your necklace, right?
I offered her my necklace, and I was afraid to. I wasn't thinking. I clearly wasn't thinking clearly at the moment. I wanted to give her my meaty necklace. I didn't want to get Eric Reichenbach. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, Eric Reichenbach.
Yeah, but then Emma told me that she has an immunity idol. I'm like, well, make it useful tonight. So I swept that under the rug. I didn't tell Lindsay that I purposely told her that the vote was her that night, and I tried to play that off as much as possible.
I think it's solid. That's an underrated game move.
I
think, at this point, I don't think anybody said it was bad. I don't think anybody recognized. I just think that because that's a big. I mean, you were the one that triggered that. You were the one. I mean, Emma had a hint. Emma had an inkling, but I think that kind of put it over the top. So crediting that move, I'd say that both of you were equally in that. But you still ended up voting for Stefan, and what you said before is that you and Stefan were close. So what happened there?
At the time, I felt like I got suckered into changing my vote from Emma to Stefan. I'm like, okay, well, if you're so confident in getting Stefan out tonight, then use your idol. And then Emma was like audible before we went to tribal online. She's like, switch to Lindsay. I'm like, why? And she's like, just switch to Lindsay. I'm like, no, I don't want to turn my back onto my like one of my biggest. Huh?
I said, oh, dang. I actually didn't know about that. I didn't hear about that before.
Yeah, she told me to switch my vote to Lindsay, and I wasn't 100% comfortable with making that move. So Emma stuck with Lindsay, and then it was me, Sarah, and Erica with Stefan. Had I voted for Lindsay, it would have went to a tie, and we probably would have had to revote.
Who do you think would have gone home in that situation? Do you think the people would have rallied?
I think Stefan still.
Stefan?
Yeah, I think Stefan would. Honestly, I think Stefan would have gone home that round if had we went to a revote.
So Lindsay and Stefan wouldn't have been able to vote. Then I would assume. Would you switch again? Would you vote for Stefan after that, or would you vote for Lindsay again on the tiebreaker?
To be safe, I would just probably just keep my vote.
So did you, Emma? Oh, you say stick to Stefan?
Yeah, like just play it safe.
Interesting. Okay. The rest of that night, what else was? Did anything else stick out? What is anything else noteworthy that you wish to discuss?
I was asleep half the time.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
how could we forget?
I guess I just now I'm still in character apparently because I just woke up from a nap, hence why I'm a bit sluggish right now. So
what was it? Just like your immunity? Was that what allowed you to nap easily?
Yeah, I was just chilling. I mean, no, I slept before that. I slept before the challenge.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the added energy gained. Because I find that funny because you look at like Lindsay and Sarah, you look at them, they're bouncing off the trees. It's like they're insane. They're so paranoid. They're freaked out. Mm-hmm. And then you're like sleeping. You're having a just wonderful thing. You're like, I'm chill. I'm fine with this.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Was there confidence? Was it just confidence in your game, or like that you weren't going to go home? You felt safe in the numbers.
A little mixture of confidence in that I wasn't going home, and just flat out like being tired. Like I was almost like I really needed my caffeine at that moment. So
yeah. And then, so did you sleep at all that night?
Like the first night, the second.
Yeah.
At the merge camp.
Yeah.
Made a pillow for me using another tent, like an unwrapped tent, and with a bunch of poles.
And why? And why did she do this?
Because she was the ultimate like provider for our camp, and I was. But wait, I was so thankful.
I would say it's a good thing. It just seems like she just was like, "Here, Seth, you have this pillow made out of tent poles."
Just why not looking out for me? Because it's Erica.
It's true, Erica. Erica's very kind spirit.
Yeah, she's a patron and a saint.
So, but was it just like you didn't have a pillow or what?
Everybody else have a pillow. I did. Everybody else had a pillow. I didn't.
Oh, okay. That clears things up.
Okay. Well, I didn't box again because that's how it was at the Wilkeson camp. I barely got any sleep. After the swap, so it didn't do me any justice in terms of having the energy or the drive to really like. Well.
Second day, anything off camera, anything fun that was not caught on camera that you wish to inform us?
I mean, Sean, I switched shirts to my Raiden Raider shirt. Sean used my CM Punk shirt as a wasp net, like a wasp spotter. So he killed a wasp with that t-shirt.
A wasp?
Yeah, he killed. There was a wasp inside the huge tent where the girl slept, and he used that to kill a wasp. And then this was before his tribal too. So
I feel like I would not want to fuck with a wasp out there.
Big ball Sean.
Yeah, yep. And then he was voted out 9-1. He saved you guys. He protected the camp, and you guys returned the favor with.
That was actually, I think, one of my confessionals talks about how that's my reason to vote him out was
the wasp.
He used my good T-shirt. So yeah, it's old school reasoning.
I don't remember this, but I could go back and look. I might have missed it. That's some old school reasoning.
Yeah.
So morning of day 3, you wake up and you've made the 3rd day of Survivor Washington, which is a huge deal. That's a big deal for Survivor Washington contestants. You've been there, you played into all 3 days. Is there any special feeling or anything waking up and being with the people that you're with? Seeing that you've made it this far, you've outlasted at this point.
Well, fatigue aside, I'd say I was pretty excited to, make it as far as I could, playing the game that I did. I couldn't put a finger on the strategy that I was playing, but I was just excited to, make it that far.
And the Emma vote goes by, and she votes for you. And I remember you were very upset about that.
Yeah, I was. That was not a good. That was like the low point for me during that game. Like I knew I was on the chopping block instantly, because before Emma's tribal, everybody told me that it was Connor. It was Connor going home that round, but it ended up being Emma. So I was like, shoot, I got caught red-handed, so I'm out the next game. I could have saved myself, by voting for Lindsay, but I put too much trust in her.
And Connor attempted to save you, Erica attempted to save you, and the lifeguard who was going to save himself was ultimately the one who drowned you.
Yeah, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to be, because Lindsay she laid out this elaborate blueprint as to why Erica would, it made sense to vote Erica out because she's a social threat. She was kind of like the mom for the camp. She was a provider. She provided moral support and
provided pillows, made
comfort,
scrap
pillows. Yeah. She was just like that positive array of energy around camp. I mean, we need that, but that's
of course.
Likability can be so far.
That's a big strategy. That's a huge way to win the game. It's just simply being likable, and because that's what I got. But did you think that Connor and Erica were voting with you?
No,
of course Erica wouldn't, but Connor. So okay.
I didn't think Connor. I didn't trust Connor 100% because I figured out at that moment. I figured out Connor was the one who was the other one who voted for me at Kitty's boot. So I had my second thoughts of siding with Connor.
And so again, Irrational was just a ploy of double agent, double crossing, and names thrown all over the place. It was a combination of the downfall of your game. So in that moment, though, you have that face, this iconic look that will forever be immortalized forever watching. Did you know that moment was for Erica coming up? Was that
yes. It was like Lindsay, Setu, we're tied. And then it was like Setu or Lindsay, and then one vote left, and then I'm like, oh, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I knew I was gonna get flung from the game at that moment, so flung too.
And that was the end of the curse was there.
Yep, I ended my own curse. I was the victim to my own stupidity. So that's how it came out. I mean, what can I do?
Right.
Yeah.
So overall, the experience, you were a juror at that
point. I had it.
Really quick, this one's kind of hard because the hours are shorter, but before the 5th juror shows up, was there anything fun on the jury that happened after you voted? What were the jurors' reactions when they found out what happened?
I went back to Ponderosa. Actually, Corey first. He wasn't a juror, but he came up and said that
Corey hung around.
He's like, Corey hung around in the shadows. He came up to me and told me that, hey, did you know you voted yourself out? I'm like, no, I didn't. I voted for Erica. It's like, well, if you stuck to Erica, I mean, if you stuck to Lindsay.
I just wanted to. I love the fact that you're not even like. It's not even entirely just a Beavis and Butthead. He literally does that.
Yeah, like he does. He has that.
Actually does that.
Chuckle.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so iconic. Like that's what makes him so unique.
I love Corey. Oh my god, I love Corey. Okay, but anyway, so you're talking to Corey.
Yeah. He told me that, you know, you voted yourself out. And then Stefan comes up to me. He's like, set two, like, I'm so sorry. He gives me a hug. He's like, but you voted yourself out. I'm like, fuck, you know, like had I stuck to Lindsay, then I would have, you know, in an act of self-preservation, I would have gone farther. But it's easy to dwell on like what you didn't do, like what could have gone your way, right. Like the what ifs, and it's easy to dwell on that and not focus on the memories and the relationships that you take out of it. And that's been my mindset on this, like the entire time. You know, voting myself out aside, I've had the privilege and, you know, the blessing to meet Connor, Lindsay, and, you know, make new friends out of this.
And the fact alone that you look at that from a memory point of view, that's a pretty damn good arc and a good ending to your story arc out there if you look at it from a memory perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But
I'm sorry. What was that?
I was just saying, rather than from I could have done this again farther. If you just look at that purely as that's how I got out of the game. That's the story. That's how it went on. It's almost like
it didn't.
Like you're able to look highly. You're able to joke about it. You're able to look fun. But that's what basically I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's not big of a deal. It was a 3-day weekend. You know, it was a 3-day game. It was less than 1% of my year, and it was like a small percentage of my summer. So I didn't really let it bother me at all.
Yeah,
like it was just it's so trivial.
But so overall, your experience, what has been your biggest takeaways from it? From Survivor Washington.
Sorry, your audio is cutting out. Can you repeat that again?
What's been your biggest takeaway from Survivor Washington?
Biggest takeaway from Survivor. I think original Wilkeson was the funniest. Like a lot of funny moments went down over there. We were like it almost felt like kind of like a sitcom because of how much fun we had over there. I love Kaya. Lindsay, Lindsay's rad. And to everybody watching right now, I just want to let you guys know how rad Lindsay is, how rad Connor is, and everybody on the cast, and Stefan, of course. And
of course, the cast, they're all very friendly. Adding on to that, this whole overall, this being able to post. Oh, I forgot to completely discuss this. Is that you've become the resident art maker of electronic arts and media in Survivor Washington with your gifts and.
I can't hear you. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah,
like your audience.
You've become a producer of many media arts in the Survivor Washington community.
Oh yeah, like it's mostly done in my free time. Like when I don't do anything else, I make a plethora of GIFs and posters as a means to like hype this whole project up, like in an art perspective, to put it that way.
Would you like to plug your Twitter?
Oh yeah, it is at Set2Chains, at SETU, and then chain with the Z at the end, like 2 chains.
Are you still DJing?
Right. Yeah, I actually DJ'd a wedding last weekend. Actually, two weekends ago in Tacoma.
Would you like to plug your DJ service?
Yes, it's on Facebook. It's ANZ Entertainment. So if to any nightlife / wedding, wedding planners out there, if you want to
Survivor fans never do.
Yeah, for real.
Survivor parties.
Yeah, Survivor parties.
Okay, so set two. Before we wrap things up, is there anything else that you want to discuss or talk about in relation to Survivor Washington?
Not at the moment. I can't really think of anything off the top of my dome right now. I'm still a little bit tired.
Yeah, no, all good. You've been involved with the production since it started. I know you're helping on season 3. And so I'm sure that the audience will see you around when we do our future contestant Google Hangouts and such. So Satu, thank you for participating in Survivor Washington. I'm glad that we finally got you on a season out here. Again, an amazing journey. One of my favorite arcs this season, but probably my favorite arc so far. But hey, until our next Survivor Washington Google Hangout, the fans will, I hope, be seeing you around. But until then, best of luck to you in your DJing and work career. And for the fans that are watching this, we will see you, oh my God, tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow in less than 24 hours for episode 11 of Survivor Washington Orting. And do not forget that this Saturday is the finale of Survivor, or excuse me, yes, that next Saturday is the finale of Survivor Washington Orting. It will premiere at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And join us immediately afterwards for the live reunion show where the guests that will be at the finale will get a few opportunities to give some last words. Satu, thank you for joining me tonight. It was good talking to you. Do you have any parting words to the audience?
Sayonara. I gotta eat dinner right now. My mom's been waiting for me.
All right. Yep. All good. All right. We'll wrap things up. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow night.